Hello everyone. Welcome. I'm going to do a shortened practice today of Pilates and strength. I'm going to work a little bit with the hamstrings connection, with the belly, and just get the body moving. And we'll see how we do in our shortened time. So let's start with your feet on the floor, spreading the toes out, taking a breath in and out, just kind of assessing the standing posture. How are the shoulders hanging? Do they feel like they're hanging? Do they need a little more support? Can you wiggle them around to give them some support? And then all the way down into the feet. And let's take the knees forward and then come back up. Shins forward. And in the same time, let's pull the belly in a little. And if you'd like, you can bring your hands to the back of the head. Good. And then coming down to pause here. And you probably feel the top of your legs a little more than the backs of your legs. So let's see if we can ignite that a little bit here. As though you were going to kick back with one foot. Let's lean a little bit to one side as though we're going to kick back. And then lean to the other side and pretend you're going to wipe that foot off, come back to center, and come back up. So that idea is that you're going to wipe the foot off, and yet we're kind of already down into this position. So it's almost like I'm squeezing the heels toward each other back there without my knees going out. And then I'm going to shift again, shift, and make sure that my legs, all of my legs, I do feel the tops, but the bottom as well, the underside is getting a little work. Let's come back up. Good, let's grab your weights. And I'm going to settle my shoulder blades onto the back so I can hold this weight. I'm going to do the same thing, sitting back and coming back up. Sitting back and coming back up. Same idea with my heels. I want them to almost be trying to push themselves backward, especially as I come up. A real gathered in squat. Good. Setting it back down. I'm going to go to the side here just so you can see. I'm going to do a little balance. It might be nice to have a chair or your fingertips on the wall. I can show you that because I'm pretty close to the wall. So I'm going to engage those hamstrings one other way. Notice how my heel is reaching, and it's reaching up toward my hamstring or toward my seat. I'm going to see if I can continue to really reach that heel up toward, and then I'm going to see if I can bring my knee in line with my body. And I'm just going to continue to squeeze here. 3, 2, 1. Now slowly lengthen. Slowly let go of that squeeze. Keep your heel foot active until you get straight, and then relax. Good, maybe shaking it out a little. And the other side. So we started with that heel, the foot is real active, and it's going to squeeze in toward my seat. And sometimes we can do this a lot more with, see how far forward my knee is. Now I'm going to see if I can bring that knee in line and squeeze those muscles of the back of the leg, hamstrings. Good. 3, 2, Oh, we forgot to release it slowly. We'll get that again a little bit later. Okay. Let's bring up those weights. And let's warm up in the shoulders a little bit. Let's lift and lower, lift and lower. And even if my shoulders could go down further, just kind of letting them be in a more medium place, not really neutral, because they are going down past neutral or optimal. And then let's bring those up and come forward and open. Now, if you have lighter weights, that might be nice here. This is a little more demanding if you haven't done a lot of weight work to keep the weights up this high. Good. And then bring those weights down. And just checking in again, giving our legs a little break. Let's give our arms a little bit more. A little bicep curl here. Coming up and down. Do 4 more, depending on how much weight you have. Remember how we release slowly on that leg? You can release slowly with your arm. Slowly lengthening the bicep as the weight comes down. Good. All right, one more arm thing. We'll go back to legs. I'm gonna come forward here. A little bit of bend in my knees, lots of help from my back and front of my legs. And then let's pull up, elbows coming out this time. Kind of a mid-row because we had the elbows up. We may come back to those. Okay, back to our legs. And let's see about doing our squat again with our weights. And we're going to keep them on the side of the body today, or on this one. Coming down and back up. Down and back up. And best you can, connecting into those big muscles of the legs again. Knees going straight. As you start to fatigue here, really watching that knees going straight, my hips going straight down. And what happens if you keep your weight back? Or what happens if you take that weight forward? Meaning your hips a little bit more than what I'm not really talking about the weight here. All right, feeling a little bit of cardio there. Good. Before we come down to the floor, let's take these overhead. Overhead. Good. And then all the way down. And we got a good start on the arms. We may come back to that. And then let's come down onto the back. Taking a couple breaths in. Relaxing the face. We talked a little bit about connecting in hamstring to this low belly part of the body. I'm going to take my mat and pull it in a little so that I can have a slippery spot for my feet on the floor. If you have carpeting, you'll be set. I'm going to take this heel, just like I did earlier. I'm going to flex the foot and I'm going to push that out and then pull it back in, pushing down into the floor. So again, another great way to ignite hamstrings when you're not at a gym. And if you care to, you can connect in a little bit to the belly and how it's working, if it's working with any of that movement in the foot. Let's try it on the other side. Out, drag back in, out, heel, drags back in, pushing it down into the floor as I push out, and then heel drags back in. And relax that leg. Relaxing the face, relaxing the jaw. Let's interlace the fingers, coming back behind the head. Elbows in just the right spot, not way out here and not too far in to squeeze my head. And as you're ready, let's find our way up. Into that mini crunch. And then slowly come back down. And now the elbows can rest outward. And with an exhale, coming up again. And then as you're ready, let's bring one leg in, grab onto the back, the other leg, grab onto the back, and just do an experiment with your arms. If they really bend and pull, you might notice your shoulders come up a little bit more, which is nice, it's ideal. But you also might notice your belly isn't working as much. So now pressing your hands, or pressing your legs, letting your legs fall into the hands and releasing a little bit the pull you're exacting on your arms. Releasing it a little bit, and maybe releasing it so much you can take that hand away. And the other one. And maybe you can take that arm out a little bit and back, arm out and back. Let's try one more on each side. Just the arm being able to move, and we stay steady. Go ahead and come back, calm down. Relaxing the upper body with that breath. I'm just gonna make my mat straight again. And then tucking each of your shoulder blades onto the back a little. And then pressing down through the feet and lifting the hips up. You can just start out somewhere halfway between nothing and the highest you can go with your hips. And starting out in this medium place, drawing the heels toward each other a little bit, drawing the heels back toward your seat, just like we did in standing. Igniting the hamstrings. If that lifts your hips more, you're welcome to continue if you can keep that connection. And then slowly, gradually coming down, releasing that work you're doing in the hamstrings and the glutes. And you can even reverse it and stretch it by bringing the legs in. Bringing the legs back. You'll notice I started with my legs really close to my bottom. I'm going to try something out now, walking the legs out, pressing the feet down to lift the hips. Now, if you couldn't feel your hamstrings before, this next couple of things you likely will. So as I push down to come up, feel a lot more going on with my hamstrings. Now there is a tendency to squeeze with the glutes to come up. So again, I might be thinking about pulling my heels in toward my body. Just make sure I'm getting each leg to work. Come on down, feeling the spine come down to the floor. Just taking a breath in between, softening my face, and then I'm going to walk the feet out again. Notice the bend or the angle of the legs and the knee. It's getting wider and wider, isn't it? Let's see if I can come up here. And now, keeping the toes down. So far I can still keep my toes down. I can lift the hips. I feel a lot of work going on in my legs. And it's not the top so much. 3, 2, 1, coming down. Now if you start to feel that a lot coming up into your back, maybe back off a little bit with how high you're going and just continue to connect into the legs. All right, one more. This time the toes can come off, the heels are going to come to the floor. And you can try this all the way to a little bit straighter with the legs, but I'm going to go this far today. Settling the back and lifting the hips with the strength of the back legs. Trying to let go around the sacrum. Let this be really work of my legs. 3, 2, 1, and releasing down. Oh, and relax the legs. You might have had some shakiness in there. It's okay. And a little shaky is always okay. One leg stays straight. The other hand, let's bring one hand in and the other hand onto the leg as well, so you can really feel a bunch of your hamstring. It's also just a different way to work with this pose, this exercise. We're going to lift the head. Look in toward the belly, elbows outward to help us a little bit. And then you're going to press with your leg. You want to press with that hamstring to come up. And you can let this foot reach out toward the floor today. And then we'll come back slowly, gradually. Coming up. Pressing out. Control on the way down. Belly connection. And reaching that foot out. And one more time coming down. Let that leg reach out. And of course we get to do the other side. One hand comes, the other hand below it. Bend the knee. Feeling that looking into the belly and those elbows reaching out a little bit. And then the leg pressing into the hands and the hands pulling back to see if we can find our way up. Last one coming up. And coming back. And resting here. Okay. Let's use one of these legs to come up, or both, up onto your seat. And then coming back behind the sit bones, hands right on those hamstrings. And then with the feet in front here, let's lift the heels and just get that connection first. The belly helping to support you in your rounded position, coming up on the tippy toes. And then let's do a little extension here. And come back. An extension and come back. And see if some of the work we did with the hamstrings allows you to get a little straighter with your legs. Kind of working with it in a long way, right? We're asking that muscle to get stronger in the short position, but also in the long position. If you'd like, you can try both. 1, 2, both. The other side, 1, 2, both. One more. And then go ahead and roll up and let your belly relax. Good. Let's come to hands and knees. I'm going to grab one of those weights. Good. So I'm going to find a very nice supported position here on hands and knees. If I need to, you can come up on the fists. And then I'm going to take that weight. Elbow comes in by my side, and I'm going to take that weight back behind me. So if you have a lighter weight, you can probably do many repetitions here. You can also slow down the pendulum coming downward. Gravity is really going to help you lower the weight. So you can slow that down. If you have a heavier weight, you might have 3 or 4 left. that weight down. Come to hands and knees. And then take one leg back, turn the toes under. Reaching back through the heel. Then take the other leg back. And lower the hips for a plank position. Head lifts as the hips lower. 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead and take the weight off your hands, whether that means coming up and shaking them or a child's pose. And then coming back to hands and knees. We need to do the other side. So balancing knees under the hips, arms under, hands under the shoulders, and then let's bring that elbow in. So as I did so, shoulder blade came in, elbow came in, and then just pressing back. Maybe 2 or 3 more. 2, 1. Good. Weight goes down. Hands maybe go a little bit further ahead as you take one leg back. Turn the toes under, get really strong with that leg. That's more property of the quadriceps, the front of the leg, and the second side. At the same time, we can still lift the hamstrings. We can ignite the entire leg to help hold our body up. Good. Pulling up in that belly region and yet not in the hips. That's tricky. 3, 2, 1. And come down. Go ahead and rest. Okay, let's end on a little bit of swan. So taking the belly up, rounding the spine, letting the head come down, shifting the weight, and you can turn the toes under. Let's go ahead and do that today. Finding our toes, we haven't worked a lot with the feet. Come on back. And then as you roll up, you can bring the hands up as well. Arms come out to the side, rolling down. Hands come back out. We're going to extend one leg, then the other. Plank position. This time lifting one leg up, toe, heel, toe. Other leg, toe, heel, toe. Back down. And if you want to, knees can come down. Lowering down. Elbows coming in. And they're going to help us push up, back up to the knees, and rounding the spine. Nice big cat position, walking the hands back and coming up on the fingertips. Rolling up. Coming up to nice and straight, lengthen the back of the neck if you'd like. Keep that length and tip back a little. Belly really works to help support. Arms come down, rolling down. Hands walk up. Feet extend the legs. A little bit of bend in the elbows. Straighten them. A little bit bit of bend. Straighten them. Good. Knees are going to come down this time. Rounding the spine. Come all the way up again. Rolling up. A little bit of a back bend if you'd like. Arms out to the side. Rolling down. And this time take the arms out and let the hips come back and come into child's. Good. So I think that's where we'll end it. Hope you got nice and connected, a little bit of heat in the body, a little bit of cardio. Yeah, let me know how this practice lands for you, as this will be in the library and I won't get direct feedback unless you let me know. Have a great rest of your day or evening.